of the introductions, no, para at least we have a productive time while waiting for the others. So today, this is a very special webinar series. It's because, or a webinar, it's because we invited the an alumni fellow so that he can share some of the experiences that uh, share and experiences nung nasa industry siya, no? So, before we go to our main agenda this afternoon, let's have some um, introduction or roll call ng ating mga participants, no? Tingnan natin kung saan umabot ang invitation from the ICS Facebook page. So, let me ask everyone to maybe put some their answer to the question sa chat box, no. So tingnan natin kung saan nang galing ang ating mga participant. You may include or put your current locations, no, maybe city or province, no, on our chat box. Tingnan lang natin kung gumagana ba ang ating mga chat box para sa hapong ito. Let's see. Ayan, I'm still admitting some of the participants. Ayan, meron tayo from Laguna. We have, saan pa kaya galing yung iba? Ayan, Rizal. Pasig City. Ayan, admit all. Los Baños. Ayan, syempre. Okay, meron tayong from Calibo, Aklan. Ayan, welcome po. UP Manila. Hello sa ating mga friends there. Ayan. So mukhang working ang ating audio, working ang ayan, UPLB, Aklan State University, yan, welcome po. Working naman ang ating I think yung audio, naririnig ako, and the ating chat box. Ayan, meron din tayo from Marinduque. Ayan. So maraming salamat for joining this afternoon, no? So I think we can proceed with our major agenda this afternoon. But before that, let's have some quick reminders with the webinar rules natin so that we could have a productive and organized webinar this afternoon. So first, keep your microphone muted unless you are recognized by the moderator or speaker. Okay, so you can mute, no? Especially make sure that naririnig natin, no, yung speaker natin this afternoon. Also, use the chat feature to ask questions or share relevant comments. Questions will be addressed during the designated Q&A session after the talk of our speaker. The number 3, observe proper online etiquette, be respectful to the speakers and fellow participants, and avoid interrupting the discussions. And lastly, we already tell it to the email, no, kaninang umaga. These Google Meet sessions are recorded for the documentations and educational purposes. So by joining the meeting, you're acknowledged and consent to the recording. Okay, so without further ado, no, we can now proceed, no, dun sa pinaka main agenda natin. I think ready na ba? Ready na ba? Pa thumbs up naman. Patingin naman ako kung ready na tayong lahat na makinig this afternoon. Ayan, maraming salamat. Okay, so now let's go to introduction of our speaker, no? Kasi ito naman talaga yung pinunta natin sa webinar na to. So, may we introduce our speaker this afternoon. So, our speaker is an independent trainer and consultant with more than 35 years of mostly information technology related experience in an electric utility company. With expertise on IT governance, IT system management and administration, IT project management, information security and cybersecurity management, IT auditing, and information risk management. And before retiring from Meralco, he headed the enterprise-wide risks management, reporting directly to Chief Risk Officer of the company. He is a graduate of BS Computer Science from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, no, from Institute of Computer Science, and a holder of internationally renowned IT-related designations. The Certified Information System Auditor or CISA and Certified Information Security Manager or CISM, both from ISACA, a certified ISO 22301 Business Continuity Management System, lead implementer, and certified ISO 3100 Risk Manager, both from PECB, accredited trainer for CISA CISM courses for APMG International. Also, he is an active member of the Board of Trustees and officers of several prestigious professional associations in the Philippines. And we are happy that we invited our UPLB alumni fellow for this year, for 2026. Uh, May we call on our speaker this afternoon, Mr. Solomon B. Anastasio. Give him a virtual applause. Sir Sol,
Good afternoon,
away.
Ariel. Can you hear me loud and clear? Can you hear me? Ariel, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Ayan, okay
Uh,
na. Can I have ano? Ayun, so meron naman mga nagta-thumbs up na naririnig nila ako. All right. So, let me share my screen before I proceed. Ayan. Let me just allow me na ayusin lang ang aking Windows. Okay. So again, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for the Institute of Computer Science. So as mentioned, I'm a graduate of UPLB with a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Although I want to correct, Ariel, hindi pa ICS nung graduate ako. Hindi, biro lang.
Sorry, sir.
hindi pa
Sige, sir.
ICS ang tawag nun. Wala pang ICS na. Hindi, biro lang. So, I'm from the Institute of Computer Science. So, dahil nga medyo matagal-tagal na yun. So, hindi pa buo ang ICS that time. But anyway, so again, thank you ICS for inviting me to talk in this ICS webinar series and share my experience, competency to all who are present today. So again, welcome everyone to this webinar, Integrating Risk Management into the Decision-Making Process. So medyo malawak yung ano no, yung membership natin o yung audience natin ngayon. So medyo hindi ako nag the detail. It's still medyo a little bit of theoretical, you know. But of course, we will be allotting time sa dulo ng ating webinar so that you can ask questions relevant to your respective situation. So you can send a message doon sa chat box natin kung gusto niyo magtanong. Okay? And then, pwede rin kayo magtaas ng kamay later. Tingnan natin kung we'll be able to accommodate live questions. Kung hindi naman, pwedeng phone-in questions and through the chat box. All right. So, we will discuss in the next 60 to 90 minutes, okay, the following. We will do a quick introduction on or overview of the risk and risk management. It's not really to teach you what's risk and risk management. I know many of you are familiar with this term, but more of really putting us on the same page, okay, on what's risk management and risk and risk management from the perspective of this discussion. Tapos nun, we'll go to the meat of the topic, which is the risk management and decision making. And then finally, the next steps for you in sa actual integration of risk management principles in your decision-making process. All right. So, using the meeting chat, can you please write down what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the term risk? Okay. Can you share, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the term risk? Can you please type in sa chat box natin? Para medyo interactive naman itong ating session. Danger, something bad might happen, hazard. That's ano, no? That's a valid. Those are valid things that naisip natin, no? Jeopardy. Adverse event, disadvantages, threats. Okay. So problem may encounter, problems that you may encounter. All right. So those are valid, ano, no? Things that, yun nga, totoo, ano, when you talk about risk, yun talaga yung naiisip natin. Okay? But before we proceed, ano, with the discussion or balikan natin yung terminology na risk, may isa pa akong tanong sa inyo. Batman o Superman? Superman o Batman? Please type in ulit sa chat box natin, Superman o Batman? Yan. Alam nyo, when I'm discussing risk management, kasama to talaga. Pwede mo 50% each. Alam mo, marami rin nagtatanong, marami. Pag tinatanong ko, Superman and Batman, ang sagot nila sa akin, Wonder Woman. Ano nangyari dyan? Bakit na yung naging Wonder Woman? Anyway, so, Batman o Superman? Yan, marami appreciate yung mga, yung mga nagpa-participate to make this, webinar more interactive, more exciting. Kasi pagka nag-exchange tayo ng views. Alright, so meron mga Batman, may mga Superman, okay? Now actually, di ba, many wanted to be Superman because he's powerful, almost a god, di ba? Superman is a go guy. I consider him a go guy. He uses brute force, okay, to solve a problem. Yung napansin nyo, pag nanonood kayo ng mga commercials, mga cartoons, even yung mga live action Superman, pag may kalaban siya, ang unang hirit niya kagad, suntok. Tama ba? Napansin nyo rin yan? Na every time na meron siyang kalaban, suntok agad siya. Ganun kagad. So, many of us, meron din tayong ganung concept yung tinatawag nating hero syndrome. Okay? The unconscious, hero syndrome is defined as unconscious or sometimes conscious, the unconscious need to be needed, appreciated, or valued. That sometimes disguises yung yung feeling na yon as a good thing. Diba? Meron tayong matatag na hero syndrome. Gusto natin tayo yung bida. As leaders, managers, and decision makers, especially mga season 1 sa webinar na ito, we sometimes see ourselves that we can solve any problems and issues presented to us. Diba? So sabihin natin, I've seen that already. I've been a project manager for a number of years. I've been a lead programmer. I've been a manager, a supervisor for a number of years now. I already have answers to those questions that when they happen. So, bring it on. Diba? Meron tayong gano'n Gano'n yung concept, gano'n yung perspective ng may hero syndrome. Yes, whatever our position or role, being a problem solver should be one of our key competency areas. Okay? That's one of key competencies talaga, being a problem solver. We already anticipated that there will be problems to be solved. So, nagre-ready tayo doon. But preventing them sometimes, okay, is not it's not the first thing that we do. Hindi yung first nature, second, not even the second nature, Preventing them in the first place is not a second nature to us. We just react if something already happened. Lagi tayong iniisip natin, hindi, okay yan, mabilis yan. Yung mga gagawin natin dyan, happy pat. Okay? Kung may dumating ng problema, sige, Solve na lang natin yan. Now, but the problem with problem, ano? For example, in a project, ano, the problem is we will be spending time, if we encounter a problem in a project, right? We will spending time, money, efforts, and other resources to solve that problem. Okay? But the project is not moving. The needle is not moving until you solve the problem. The needle will only move once the problem is solved. But again, by that time, you already spent time, money, resources that could have been used to improve the quality of the project, to expedite the project, or even really lower the overall cost of the project. Savings na sana yon. Now, as I always say, ano, sa mga project management training na kinokondak ko, the last thing that we need in a project is another hero. Parang kanta yan, ano? Alright, that's why, personally, I want to be Batman. Going back to the movie, why did Batman able to stand against Superman? Almost beating him. Diba? Simple. Batman assessed the situation. He did a risk management. He determined the risk of fighting Superman. He studied his opponent, the threats that Superman can bring to him. But he studied his own vulnerability, Batman's own vulnerability, his humanity. He determined the opportunities that Batman can exploit against Superman. Superman's weaknesses that Batman can exploit. Batman recognizes his strength or strength in Batman that he can maximize and the weakness that he needs to protect. Unlike Superman, whose first approach to his opponents is to use the brute force, ano, Batman is a tactician, recognizing his humanity, that he can be killed by Superman with a single punch. Diba? Not a single bounce, but a single punch. Alam mo, yung problema ko pagka ganitong online, hindi ko nakikita kung natatawa kayo sa joke ko. So pagka meron akong joke, natawa kayo, please send me an emoji naman dyan. Ayan, salamat. So Batman can be killed by Superman with a single punch. So he uses his intelligence to solve the problem before it happens. In the movie, kung napanood niyo siya, Batman has an exoframe batsuit that amplifies yung strength niya. At the same time, he can absorb yung mga punches sa Superman, yung power punch sa Superman, saka yung extra-vision. Meron din mga sound cannons na pinrepare si Batman to temporarily disorient Superman. And then madidistract yung super hearing ni Superman. So, he also have automated turrets or machine guns, ano, to force Superman into a position, nilalagay niya sa trap, so that he can use yung another weapon niya, which is the kryptonite gas grenades. That, of course, kryptonite yun, it weakens Superman. And finally, sa dulo, okay, tulad na nakita natin sa picture, he finally subdued Superman using the kryptonite spear. Okay? Now, that will not be possible kung hindi niya pinag-isipan, di ba? Risk management is the utility belt of Batman. With this risk assessment, he was able to defeat a god called Superman. Okay? Risk management is a solution to hero syndrome. It will not completely resolve it, but it is one of the best weapons against what we call hero syndrome. By anticipating the problems, by identifying the risks and managing them, we are in a way already solving those problems even before we have them. Okay? Now, risk is officially defined by ISO under the ISO 31000 standards as the effect of uncertainty on objectives. Three very important terms: effect, uncertainty, objective. Let's discuss uncertainty first. It is about the unpredictability of a future event. Okay? probably due to our lack of knowledge about that event, incomplete data to predict that event, or simply the nature of the event. Di ba? Like, for example, earthquake or typhoon. The Philippines experience more than 23 typhoons a year. Okay? We just have one last week, di ba? Si Typhoon Inday. Si Bobby, okay? Si Bobby, hindi po si Vice President. Ano? Ay, sorry. Walang politics. Okay. So we can say, right, typhoon is no longer a risk because it will definitely happen. Okay. But what is uncertain about typhoons is when will it happen? What is the path of the typhoon? Will it landfall? And where will it landfall? Okay. How strong the typhoon will be? How many water it will dump? How fast are the winds? How strong are the winds are? Okay? So kahit alam natin na tatamaan ng Pilipinas ng bagyo 20 plus times a year, marami pa tayong hindi alam kung ano yung pwede mangyari. Now, the next two terms, effects on objectives, are also very important terms in this. Without it, everything that will happen will be a risk to us. Okay? As introduced, galing ako sa biggest electric utility in the Philippines. Okay? So, I think alam niyo na kung anong company yon. 32 years ako nag-serve sa company niya. Anyway, so, definitely, from that utility company, typhoon is a major risk. Pero hindi lahat ng typhoon considered risk to electric utility. Only the typhoon that will threaten the objectives of the company, okay, will be relevant to that particular company. Ano ba objective ng electric utility? To deliver power, to deliver electricity to homes and businesses within the franchise area. So, kung hindi dadaan sa franchise area ng utility company ang bagyo, hindi siya significant risk. Hindi siya relevant risk sa company at sa mga customer nito. The ISO definition of risk also removes the connotation that risks are negatives. Okay? Yes, we view risk as you put in sa chat natin, no? Karamihan negatives. Risks are threats, risks are dangers, okay? But risk really is something that can affect the objectives. It can be negative or it can be positive. Okay? Well, we usually view, as we mentioned, risk as a threat in achieving our goals or objective. Risk can also be an opportunity presented to us to improve the chances of achieving the goals and objective of the company. Events are actually neutral. Even typhoon, sabi natin, neutral pa rin siya. Rain, for example, is an event that is neutral. It will be positive or negative depending on the objective of the person who will experience the rain. Okay? A farmer whose objective is to grow palay will view rain as an opportunity to plant crops. Right? Pag umulan yan, yes. Diba? Ano ba hinihintay ng mga, nung lumang panahon, ang hinihintay ng mga farmers ay tinatawag na 9-day rain. 9 na araw na umuulan kasi it will flood the field. So para sa kanya, that is an opportunity kasi it will increase the possibility of achieving the goal of growing crops. Pero kung bakasyonista ka na may scheduled kang trip to Boracay, iba ang tingin mo sa rain. It will be a threat to your objective of getting a sunburn. Right? Iba yung objective mo eh. So, rain will be a threat to you, to your objective. Okay, many of us have heard the term risk, diba? As a student, faculty, professional, and we are made aware of the threats in relation to those risks in our respective activities. And somehow, I believe, also opportunities, ano? But since nakapokus tayo sa risk as a threat, many of us are ignoring the risk. it is primarily because of bias. Okay? Bias kasi tayo eh. Cognitive bias is defined as the unconscious error in our thinking that affects how we process information, how we make decisions. Na-influence niya how we make our decisions. Okay? Sometimes we believe that some of the events will not affect us, kaya hindi na lang natin sila pinapansin. Or sometimes, sasabi natin, those risks are not true because we have not experienced it yet. Totoo ba yung big one? Hindi pa naman natin nararanasan eh. So, or, yung big one na yan, hindi sa lifetime natin yan. So, ganun tayo mag-isip. Or, pwedeng we only recognize information that aligns with their existing beliefs. And we ignore yung contradictory evidence presented to us. Wala tayong pakialam sa sinasabi ng iba. Basta si Jungkook ang pinakamagaling na member ng BTS. Si Jungkook kasi ang bias natin. Di ba? So, tama, no? Yung term na bias, baka doon yung unang narinig kay BTS. Hindi sa risk management. So, hindi makarelate sa bias at BTS. Magtanong na lang kayo sa Gen Z at Millennials. Alright, moving on. We don't ignore risks because we are incompetent. We ignore them because our brain are naturally wired to seek comfort. Okay? That's how our brains are naturally wired. Okay? That's why we need risk management. We need to overcome our inherent bias so that we can have a better decision. And when you ask what the definition of risk management, many are saying that we need to manage risk. Risk management is really addressing the threats, addressing the vulnerability, addressing the negatives of an event. But in reality, risk management has nothing to do, okay, with managing risk. Okay? We are not supposed to manage the risk. Kaya nga, the risk management medyo misnomer for me. No? We are not and should not manage risk. As defined by ISO 31000, risk management is about managing the activities of the organization with regards to risk. The main objective of risk management is not really to manage risk, but to create and protect value to help the organization achieve its objectives. So, bottom line, ang objective pa rin ng risk management is to help organization achieve its objective. So, risk management is not just about minimizing or eliminating uncertainty, but we need to navigate around that uncertainty, minimizing the effect of negative risks or the negative threats, while we maximize the effects of positive risks or the opportunities. Now, speaking of 31,000 risk management, again, if you want to know more about risk management, be a risk management professional like me, okay, this is a very good starting point. The ISO 31000, the risk management standard. This is the global standard on risk management. Now, I will not discuss the standard in detail, just some highlights. The standard has three major components. Okay? Of course, the principle, the clause 4, the framework, clause 5, and the process, clause 6. So if you're familiar with ISO, it aligns with the other ISO standards, or management system. Now, what I want to emphasize here sa ISO 31000, that unlike the other ISO framework, there is no certification, organization certification on ISO 31000, because ISO 31000 is not a system. Okay? It is a standard, it is a framework that designed to be integrated within the other management systems, like the ISO 9001, the QMS, or Quality Management System, the ISO 27001, Information Security, or the ISO 22301, the Business Continuity Management System. These three, actually all ISO management systems right now are risk uh, risk-based. Okay, risk-based na yung mga management system na yan. You can see it, yung term na integration are explicit doon sa framework, sa clause 5, yung sa left icon. Ano? Kita-kita natin dito yung concept of integration. Explicit to na hindi mo makikita sa lahat sa iba pang ISO documentation or framework. It is in addition to the PDCA concept, plan, do, check, act, that was adopted by ISO. And then again, sa principle, if you go back to the principle, mapapansin natin may term na integrated pa rin doon. Okay? Because we really need to integrate, the concept of ISO 31000, again, is not a separate system. It's not a separate folder. Okay? If you're doing quality management system, hindi yung, magre-risk management tayo. Okay, sasarado ko yung quality management system na folder, tapos bubuksan ko yung risk management. Hindi po ganun yun. Meron kang project management using PMBOK, for example. Meron kang folder ng project A. Tapos sasabihin, magko-conduct daw ng risk assessment ng project. Ganun ba? Sasarado ko yung project folder at magbubukas ako ng another folder ng risk management or project risk management. The concept of ISO 31000 is really to integrate risk management in every process and every activity of the organization. Okay? And in this particular webinar, we will try to integrate risk management, or we'll explore how we can integrate risk management into the decision-making process. Okay? So yung example ko kanina, kung meron kang project folder, risk management is just one page doon sa folder mo. Hindi siya separate folder. Okay? So, let's have some specific examples para mas medyo mailatag natin. No? As students, I know there are some students here. So, as students, wait lang, meron ba tayong okay. Sorry. Sorry, nasa mid pa ako. Right. As students, your objective is to graduate, right? And there are several uncertainties doon sa objective mo to graduate. And some of the negative risks are tuition fee hikes. Well, if you're in the UP, hindi ganun problema. Pero yung cost of education, kahit nasaan ka, the cost of education is increasing. Pwede magkaroon ka ng health issues or among the other negative risks that will prevent you from graduating. Risk management will not prevent the tuition fee hike. We cannot prevent tuition fee hikes or the increasing cost of education. But what we can do, is to do something so that we can implement or we can supplement the current funds. We can do something about earning money. We can secure financial aids, we can secure scholarship para ma-circumvent natin yung tuition fee hike. So kaya nga sinasabi natin kanina, we're not really managing the risk kasi the risk is tuition fee hike. That's not, you're not the threats, we're not managing the threats. We're managing the activities that we are doing so that when the tuition fee increase happens, we are ready to be able to handle those increase in tuition or the cost of education. Now, as IT professionals, if we are implementing IT system, our objective to maintain 99% availability of the system. There are known threats to this objective. Cyber threats like hacking, malwares, hardware and software failures, yung mga utilities and facility failures. Now, we manage those risks, not by preventing cyber threats, hacking, and malwares. We cannot do that. Okay? But we are doing a lot of, we can do a lot of things to provide, to secure yung vulnerability natin. We manage the risk by implementing information security with the functionality of the system so that whenever there are hacking attempts, we'll be able to block it and respond to it. Malwares will be able to detect it and respond to it as they happen. All right, so with the ISO 31000 definition of risk management evolved from the old perspective on focusing on hazard and avoiding losses to really maximizing opportunities for success. From necessary evil and from compliance purposes only to really be an effective tool for management. Okay? And from a silo function that, okay, risk is the responsibility of the risk department, okay, to an integrated activity and processes that everybody that's involved in that activity, in that process, are also doing risk management. Now, there are two main processes of risk management. First is the risk assessment process. By the way, on screen is the risk management process, as I mentioned, based on ISO 31000. But I will not discuss everything. I just highlight the two main, which is the first one is under the risk assessment process, which is the understanding of the risk, from identifying to analyzing to evaluating. It's the middle one. Okay. The objective of identifying risk is to determine the key or most relevant uncertainties. In definition, we need to answer the question, what can happen and why? In analyzing the risk, we answer the question, how often this risk can happen? And what is the impact of this risk to our activity, to the process, to the business process, or to the overall objective of the organization? We need to understand the likelihood of the risk happen or the event happening or the threat happening, and to understand the real impact of the threat to the objectives of the company. And in evaluating the risk, we need to determine the priorities of the company by answering the question, can we tolerate this risk? Can we accept this risk, tolerate or accept this risk? Or what can we do regarding this risk? Now, the second main process of risk management is the risk treatment process or the risk response process. Okay? Depending on the results of the understanding phase, we need to determine the action plans or what we call risk treatment plan or risk response plan. Based on the results of the evaluation, okay, we can monitor the risks. We can monitor the risk that we said that we will tolerate or accept. Okay? If the evaluations tolerate, we monitor the risk because the risk changes. So we need to monitor whether the situation changes wherein that risk from low risk naging high risk. Okay? We can also take actions, okay, to reduce the likelihood or reduce the impact to the objectives for those risks that we evaluate that we need to be mitigated or treated. We can also transfer the risk by having insurance or by outsourcing the process or the activity. And finally, the last risk treatment strategy is to eliminate, okay? To terminate the activity, to avoid. Now, when you say avoid or terminate the risk, it should be we are terminating the activity that's producing the risk. Okay? So if we want to avoid website defacement, then the action plan will be we will not have a website. Kung wala kang website defacement. That's the concept of avoid or terminate. Kasi yung iba sinasabi, no, yung mali yung ano nila na, oh, ano gagawin natin sa risk na to? Yeah, avoid natin yan. Yung pala sinasabi ng avoid is they would like to mitigate. Okay, so ano lang siya, so para lang maging technical yung term. No? Kasi nga, pag gumamit kayo ng ISO 31000, meron kayong ISO 9000, 27000, and other ISO certification, you will encounter this for risk strategies. Now, very quick, using the chat box, can you answer this question para malaman ko kung gising pa kayo? Which stage of the risk process do you think organizations struggle with most? A, identifying the right risks. B, analyzing and evaluating the risks. C, actually taking action or treatment. What do you think? Siguro sa inyo na lang, kayo mismo, saan kayo nag-struggle kung ano sa organization niyo? Okay, majority C. Okay, merong isang nag-A. So, actually, true, no? A lot of people are madali nilang magagawa yung identifying the risks. Okay? Sometimes kasi when you are doing a project na paulit-ulit, one of the identifying risk identification strategy kasi is checklist. So you can easily get a list of risks or threats by having a checklist from your previous projects. Analyzing it together with baka meron na kayong checklist and everything. But sometimes, really, it's yung pag-treat, yung response plan. Madaling gumawa ng response plan eh. But the problem is, nai-implement ba natin yung response plan? Now, one of the main reason nga for not implementing the response plan is really hindi natin siya ini-integrate sa process. Okay. Now, sa project management, diba? Kung familiar kayo sa project management, particularly PMBOK, kagawa kayo ng WBS, okay? yung work breakdown structure, and then gagawa kayo ng schedule, gagawa kayo ng resource list, register, cost register, and then after that, may stakeholder register ka pa, communication register or communication plan. After that, gagawa ka ng project risk assessment. Now, tulad na sabi ko kanina, yung iba ang ginagawa, pagka nagawa nila yung risk assessment, that's it. Tapos na. But the problem is, dapat ibalik nila yung action plan na ginawa natin sa risk assessment pabalik sa WBS. Kailangan ba integrate nila pabalik yung mga na-identify nila action plan para sumama siya sa WBS, sasama siya sa schedule, sasama siya sa cost, sasama siya sa stakeholder management, sasama siya sa communication plan. Pag hindi mo sinama, hindi mo binalik yung action plan mo sa WBS, hindi siya may execute. Okay? So, ganun din sa mga operations, they will do assessment pero hindi binabalik. So, walang budget. Number one kasi dyan if you have action plan treatment, kailangan mo na schedule, resource, budget. Pero dahil hindi mo siya sinama sa iyong overall plan, therefore, hindi siya masasama sa gagawin talaga. Makakalimutan siya lagi. Alright? At this point, are there any questions? Okay. Can I have a heart? Sabi ka, ayan, kung wala kayong tanong. Ay, ganyan lang po talaga ako. Kahit medyo, pagka kasi masyado tayo seryoso, baka tulugan niyo ako eh. Okay. Let's have some detailed example of using risk management in decision-making process. Now, since marami tayong dito, medyo varied, laki yung variance natin in terms of demographics, may estudyante, may faculty, may professionals. So I choose to have a common baseline. I choose the DMAIC technique in solving problems or in making a decision. So probably some of you are familiar with the DMAIC. Okay. stands for define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. It is a data-driven strategy and structured problem-solving approach commonly used to improve existing business process. So nakikita natin ito usually sa mga bigyan na wala sa ano ko. Mamaya, maalala ko yan. Sorry. Ay, ano ba yun? Bigla nawala. Anyway, basta ginagamit siya for process engineering, business process improvement. Process improvement, yun, process improvement. All right. So as mentioned, traditional risk management only looks at the threat column. How do we stop things from breaking? How do we stop bad things from happening? But true risk-informed decision making looks at both positive and negative. At every phase of the DMAIC problem-solving technique, okay, we will ask ourselves, what could blindside us, the negative, and what hidden advantage can we exploit, the positive? Okay, so in this webinar, the next few minutes, we will explore what are those possible threats and opportunities in each step or phase of the DMAIC. Okay, first phase is define. Okay, D for define, whose main goal is to establish the scope and problem statement. That's the main goal. We answer the main question, what needs to be solved? What are we trying to build? What are we trying to buy? Or what are we trying to change? Okay? Threats can be incorrect problem statement. The problem statement that we documented does not reflect the actual problem that the team or the group is trying to solve. Incorrect problem statement will affect the rest of the phases of the MAIC. Okay? Scope creep. We're trying to solve too many problems at once. For example, ang immediate problem natin is to fix the mobile login page. Pero nung nilatag na natin, ang dami na nating lahat na lang ng problema ng IT system isinama natin sa objective. Or misaligned stakeholders. Pwedeng magkaiba yung point of view ng project team versus the beneficiaries of what a success looks like sa isang project. Okay? Yan yung misaligned stakeholder interest. Kailangan pareho sila. Kung hindi, mahihirapan tayo to achieve kung ano yung problem scope natin. Okay? Ano ba yung opportunities? We can uncover yung mga shared goals between IT and the other department within the company that will allow us, since pareho tayo ng objective, pareho tayo ng goals, sige, let's pool our budget, let's pool our resources, let's collaborate, let's partner so that we'll be able to solve another project. Okay, so that's opportunity. We can this project or another project. Now we can also identify staff member, a top executive, or a board director who can become our chief advocate for change. Okay, mga change champion. Second phase is measure. M for measure. Main goal is to gather baseline data that represents the current situation or the current process performance. We answer the main questions, what data to collect to understand the problem better. Okay. Yun yung sinasagot, ano pa kukolektahin natin? So, one of the risks or threats to this particular step is really what data? Okay? Because garbage in, garbage out. We might be getting flawed, incomplete, or biased data. Okay? That will prevent us from really understanding the problem at hand. Okay? We can also be spending a lot of efforts, days, collecting microdata or too many data, that may stall the actual analysis of the problem and therefore the overall decision-making process. But if we gather, on the positive side, if we gather the appropriate data, we can we will be able to spot kaagad mga process bottlenecks, okay, during the initial data collection pa lang. So that before even we solve the problem, we'll be able to have a clear understanding na kagad ng data, ng process. It can also be, if tama yung data natin, we can also start building a clean, centralized databases or dashboard that we can use or the other department can use or can use for totally different activities or decisions. Now, third is A for analyze. Main goal is to identify the root cause or causes of the problem, okay? Or determine the defect if we are doing process improvements. We need to answer the main question, what are causing the problem or the defect? Okay. Now, the threats, of course, as mentioned earlier, bias. We might be looking for data that proves yung gut feel natin. Hindi, yan yung problema niyan. Tamo ha, gaano ka ng data to support yung gut feel mo. While ignore natin yung data that points to possible root causes. Okay? Kaya nga, di ba, sabi nga, kung napapanood si House, di ba? So, ang point of view niya is naghahanap siya ng ibang root causes kaysa dun sa obvious na nakikita nila. Kasi nga, baka may bias yan. Now, there is also a tendency na nakakompuse natin yung symptom versus root cause. Right? Parang nilalagdat ka. So, may lagnat ka, gamutin natin yung lagnat mo. But in reality, yung lagnat pala is just a symptom. Hindi pala yun yung root cause mo na sakit. It's just a symptom of another disease. Okay? So, probably we might be stopping data collection because nakafocus na tayo doon sa symptoms, doon sa lagnat. Okay? Instead of really doing more analysis, bakit kami lagnat? Okay? Now, opportunities, of course, if we are doing root cause analysis workshop with the different stakeholders, we might be able to surface or discover some solutions, simple solutions that will eliminate some headaches of the other organizations or other staff within the organization. Okay, so pwedeng kasi multifunctional ka ang root cause analysis natin. No? So probably, kung pwede na pala natin gawin ito. Yun lang pala problema mo, so gawin na natin. Kailangan mo lang ba ng Excel? Bigyan na kita ng Excel. Okay? So, but it also offer, because of those workshop, innovation triggers. Okay? Since nag-usap tayo, pwede na natin based sa data, masasabi natin, hindi mo pwede sabihin na we're always doing it this way because the data might prove na hindi yung old method nyo hindi na talaga tama. So, kailangan natin palitan. Okay? Now, fourth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 is I for improve. Of course, now, we already determined the root cause or root causes. Now, by the way, dito kasi sa analyze, kaya ko sinasabing root cause or root causes, sometimes we'll not be able to see the tinatawag nating primary root cause. Okay? So, kailangan meron lang tayong probable root causes. Okay? Hindi ka sure, but you have 3. So, what will happen is instead of implementing just one set of solution to address that particular root cause, we will implement several sets of solutions to address 3 probable root causes. Okay? So, the main question na sasagutin natin dito are, what are the solutions that are best fit, okay, to address the root cause? Now, Threats, of course, is user resistance. Okay? You roll out some uh, IT solution, perfect solution, okay? But your users refuse to use it, okay? So what will happen? Even if that is a perfect solution, hindi na-solve yung problema because the users are not using it. Okay? System disruption. You implement a new system that without analyzing the other associated systems or yung integrated systems, that probably your new solution or your systems might be creating unexpected glitches or downtime to the other systems. Now, on the opportunity side, if your system or your solution is a success, nagkakaroon tayo ng tinatawag na halo effect. The successful, very visible project, okay, will boost the team morale, and it build trust between the stakeholders for as para magagamit natin siya as investment for future projects. Okay. Now, vendor leverage, depending on the results, we can use pilot data, for example, yung data na nagamit natin for the new project to negotiate discounts or adjustments sa service terms. Probably because of what we found out or the implementation of our new project, we don't need the 24/7 support. We just need the 8 to 5. Okay? Because of that, we'll be able to have a vendor leverage. Now, control, the last is control. The main objective is to sustain the improvements. So the main question is that we need to answer is, how do we monitor the implemented solutions and how do we ensure that the improvements are maintained? Kasi yan yung problema with the new applications, new decisions, new systems. Systems, when I say systems, it's both IT and process. After you implement, boom, yeah, old habit regression. Yung mga staff are following the new systems because it's part of the project. Pag nag-kick in na yung BAU or business as usual or the operations stage, unti-unti na bumabalik doon sa old comfortable process or workarounds na ginagawa. Because wala na nagmo-monitor sa kanila. And also, there can be another threat is a shift in the business environment that will probably will make the metrics irrelevant or obsolete because the business environment changes. Now, in terms of opportunities, okay, your control, your new system, your new solutions can be turned into a standard, scalable template. Naging successful ka. Experience na namin yan. I have a new project. I created a template. I created the process for the project that we use it as a template for the succeeding projects. So, standardization blueprint. And then, of course, we can have the continuous feedback loop pagka maganda yung setup natin ng solutions natin, ng identifications ng metrics, and then of course the monitoring. Okay, we can set up the early warning systems so that we'll be able to see whether the improvements that we have, okay, are nagde-deteriorate ba siya. So we can do some proactive activities before magkaroon ka, ma-hit tayo ng crisis. All right. Now, this one, you don't have to write it on the chat box, but please write it on your notes. Okay? Meron ba kayong major decision na gagawin this month? And then you identify the threats and opportunities for that particular decision. Okay? So, no need to put it sa chat, but type it sa inyong. Yes, ma'am, Miss Elvira, thank you. Six Sigma. Nawala sa ano ko, Six Sigma. Thank you. Sorry nagko-close yung ano ko yung window ko kaya hindi ko nakita agad yung chat. Now, moving on. So, to close, so using risk management approach, we are now moving from the traditional gut feel-based decision making or the experience-based decision making into data-backed risk-aware decision-making process. We are not saying that experience-based decision making is bad because, of course, when we do a decision, we put a lot of our experience behind that. But we need to understand that not all problems are the same. Okay? There are some factors on that particular problem that may not be, that will make your traditional approach or solution not effective. Okay? Pwede kasi gano'n. Ganyan din ginagawa namin sa project management. Even if you are implementing the same project every time, you need to assess each project individually kasi there are some factors, probably different stakeholders. Same project, pero different stakeholders. Like for example, in our case, electric utility, we're creating substation. So when you create substation, cookie cutter yan. Pero pagdating yung mismo technical cookie cutter, pero pagdating sa mga sa mga stakeholders, nag-iba-iba. Ibang kakausapin mong mayor, may mayor na mabait sa'yo, may mayor na galit sa'yo. So you have to change your approach depending on the actual scenario. All right. So on to the last section. What's next? Okay. Now, attending this webinar will be a waste of time if you will not be able to translate the ideas into actions. Okay? Masasayang lang yung 1 hour plus kung pagsasalita dito if you will not able to translate the ideas na nakuha nyo, the light bulb moment, okay? The key takeaway na nakuha nyo into action. So, I would suggest several action items or action plans for you. Number 1, audit your current decisions. When you go back to your respective offices, okay, look for an existing project or a department initiative or a major decision, okay, a strategy. From that, what are the assumptions you made when you planned the project or initiatives? What are the core assumptions that you made, okay, when you create the project plan? What are the core assumptions that you made when you make that decision? Then you validate, you challenge the assumption. Are the assumptions correct? Are these assumptions based on reliable information? Like, do we really have the staff? Okay? Do the staff really have the competency needed to execute the activities of this project? Then, after you challenge the assumption, you also stress test the assumptions against the decision. If those assumptions are proven to be wrong tomorrow, okay, will your decision still hold? Will the decision still valid? Or if the decision, if the assumptions are wrong, you need to change the decisions. Okay? Assumptions are the major source of risk. Incorrect assumptions will influence the decisions. You will make a bad decisions from an incorrect assumptions that will translate to improper or incomplete plans, which will eventually result to the failure to achieve the objective of the projects or initiatives. Okay? So assumptions are, validating the assumptions are very important. Now, the second action plan is to simplify the risk register. Many are justifying that risk management needs tons of data to be effective. They are correct. To be very, very effective, you need tons of data. But sometimes, simple information, just need simple information to be able to make a good decision. So therefore, a simple risk register might be enough for some of the current problem at hand. Okay? Do not delay the use of risk management in decision making just because wala akong Monte Carlo simulation software. Okay? So that we can predict the future, we can predict the probabilities and everything. So use qualitative risk analysis first. Once we mature, then we can go to quantitative risk analysis. Again, what is important is really understanding the risks, understanding the opportunities, understanding the threats, so that you can make informed decisions. The third and final recommendation or steps is really to cultivate risk culture within the organization. While many will say, okay, it is ideal to start from yung pagka-culture change, it's ideal to start from the top. Yes, it might be ideal, but sometimes bottom-up approach is also an acceptable approach. Okay? Start culminating risk culture within your small unit or office. Focus on your own department's goal, your project's objectives. Ask the question, what are we missing? Ask the golden question, what are we missing? Risk, risk-aware culture is about being transparent and accountable. Okay? No, I'm not referring to whatever politics out there. Transparency and accountability. Transparency, practice of being open, honest, and clear about the actions. Okay? Accountability is our obligation to take ownership of the actions and decisions, and of course, accept the consequences of those actions. We need to involve our people to be open. Okay? Now, before I close, I just have few more slides. I just want to highlight this. Okay, this is a major classification risk. This is just an example. It came from COSO. So if there are CPAs here or internal auditors, I got this from COSO. No, so these are major classification risks. There can be strategic risks. It can be financial risks, compliance risks, or operations risks. Okay, this is corporate risk, enterprise risk. Now, from the point of view of levels of risk, okay, there is no single risk register company. There's no single risk register because the risks are found on the different levels of the company. Okay? If you have organizational objectives, you have the enterprise risk. If you have strategies, you have the strategic risk. If you have process and programs, you have the tactical risk and program risk. Operations, technology, and projects, you have operations and technology risk, project risk. Below that are activities and tasks. You have activities and individual risks. So at each level, there will be a different set of risks, a different approach of doing risk assessment. At the top, strategies and organizational objectives, maybe they're using a SWOT analysis for risk assessment. SWOT analysis, right? Strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. So you can see opportunities and threats. That is risk assessment already. Okay? So as you go down, okay, the risk assessment might be different. From the activities, probably you're doing risk assessment by doing checklists. In our organization, in the electric utility, before a lineman will go up bago siya bumalik, okay, meron siya ng checklist. Okay, meron ko ba nito? Ginagawa mo na to? Yan. That is their risk assessment before they allow a particular person pumanik ng poste. Hindi kasi pwede at that time na titingnan mo siya, tapos magbe-brainstorm kayo, ano ba yung risk bago pumanik. Hindi ganun yung concept noon pagka nasa baba ka. Okay? Samantalang sa taas, doon yung gumagana yung creativity natin as ano no as individual, as professionals, to be able to determine kung ano yung risk to the particular objective. All right. Are there any questions? So we have lots of time for questions. Again,
Okay, thank
typing your question. Okay. Ariel?
you. Yes, sir. Thank you so much sa inyong very informative and napaka-interactive din na discussions, no? So, dun sa mga questions, you are free to maybe raise hand o kaya you may put it on our chat box. Okay, so siguro habang inintay yung questions from our participants, siguro ako na lang muna yung mag-question, sir, about your discussion. So thank you
Sure.
again, sir, for
Sure.
the you did for today, no, for our invitations for the alumni fellow, ano. So the question, sir, is it's because the risks management is sometimes hindi siya nabibigyan ng formal na pagtingin, no, especially on the project. So the question here is that how much resources siguro, maybe on the project perspective, should be allotted to the risks management?
Mhm.
Maybe estimate, no? Dapat ba
Mhm.
every start, every end of the project?
Mhm.
Kailan ba siya dapat, sir?
Actually, walang silver bullet, ano? Uh, kasi maraming factors. One of the factors is the type of projects. Ano type of projects, ano? If the project is, sabihin na natin, ano, paulit-ulit, so you already have a checklist, probably uh, having spending 5% of your time, okay, is enough. But what I would like to suggest is really during your meetings, okay, whatever meetings, planning, checkpoint meetings, status updates, spend 5 to 10 minutes of uh, the time asking the question, are we missing something? Okay. So, because nga, depende sa laki nung ano, no, depende sa project. But I would say spend uh, a portion of your time asking that question para mas ma-incorporate mo rin yung culture of risk management. Ano. You ask the question, are we missing something? Then later, as you mature, okay, uh, you will put some of those questions in a checklist. Okay? So, mababawasan yung time mo on thinking, mapupunta siya uh, sa checklist na lang. Okay? So, again, marami kasing way, techniques ano, in doing it and doing risk assessment. I mentioned checklist, brainstorming. There's a pros and cons on using one of the concept. So probably you need to really combine all of those techniques. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, okay. Sir, medyo na-realize ko lang din, no, on risk management, kailangan din talaga dyan discussion, no, deep discussions, and maybe
Mhm.
some research, no, kasi sabi nyo nga kanina,
Yes.
sir, na uh, there is uncertainty pa dun sa mga mangyayari. So, hindi pa natin
Mhm.
alam maybe on the future kung ano mangyayari. So, that's why we have to think about ano ba, no? Ano ba mangyayari in the future. So, we have to see, no? Ano mga
Mhm.
possible risks. Doon papasok yon. So, thank you for that, sir, na answer naman po. Okay. So, baka sa ating mga participants, do you
Mhm.
have questions? May time pa naman tayo or pagod na ba? Sorry for because yung time natin we target din kasi yung ating mga professionals, no? That's why
Yes.
we scheduled it by 5 p.m., no? So mukhang meron naman tayo mga professionals here, no?
Mhm.
Maybe you can share din mga experiences, baka you can uh, we can talk about it, no, dun sa na experience niyo na risks management. Sige lang po. Free po tayo for the questions. You can put it on the chat box or you can raise hand kung nahirapan po tayong mag-type.
Okay, so while you're waiting, Arya, I would like to add in relation to sa question mo kanina, no? When you are looking or determining risks, okay, for me, from another perspective, one perspective, you can identify risk from uh, three sources. Number one, the past incidents, experience. Okay? So, ano ba nangyari in the past? You can use that probably in a form of checklist, as mentioned earlier, na ito yung nangyari sa past relevant ba sa inyo to? Relevant ba sa atin to? Yan. So, that's coming from the past. Second is the current. Ano ba yung current situation natin ngayon? Doon pumapasok yung situation analysis. Okay? So you do the risk assessment based on situation analysis. Current. And then finally, dito papasok yung pangatlo, yung pagiging futuristic mo. Pag-isip mo, ano nga pwede mangyari in the future na hindi pa natin nakikita in the past, hindi pa natin nakikita ngayon. Okay? Like for example nga, yung mga tinatawag ng black swan. Ano pa yung pwede mangyari in the future na hindi pa nangyayari? So yun. So you look at the future, you look at the past, you look at the present, you look at the future in doing risk identification. Alright. So, wag kayong mahiyang magtanong kasi ah kasi pag nahiya kayo magtanong, bukas may bayad na to.
May bayad. Yes, sir. Meron dito, no? So, from Phoebe. Sir, you mentioned that promotion of risk culture can start bottom up. Any tips how to influence other departments to adopt a risk culture?
Promote your successful project, okay, wherein you use risk assessment in managing that project. The only yung ito yung pinaka best for me that's the best thing na pwede mo i-promote i-influence yung iba is because paano ka, di ba yung sabi ng success yung key success factor, pag tinanong ka what's your key success factor, bakit mo na-achieve yung goal mo? Risk management. So promotion, risk culture. So for me, that's the best best way to influence others na ka-level mo kasi bottom up nga yung ka-level mo. Okay? Thank you. Thank you for the heart.
Okay. Another question po from Cherry Rose. How do we ensure that we have adequately assessed the key risks without failing into analysis paralysis?
Ooh, this is a very hard question because really we don't have parang mahirap Pero meron mga pwedeng gamitin, like in doing anything. You are familiar with the 5 whys, diba? So, as 5 whys, pag nakarating ka sa 5th why, yun na yung end mo. Huwag kang mag 10 whys kasi yun yung analysis paralysis. You put a limit. You can also put a limit on the time. For example, okay, I will have 1 day to analyze this. Now, is it adequate? I don't know. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But it prevents you from falling into the analysis paralysis side. Another is yung sinasabi nilang fail quick. I forgot the term. Parang sinasabi, you analyze it, okay? You come up with a decision, you implement it. So that, kung mag-fail, you can go back again. Hindi yung ang haba ng inubos mo oras, pagdating sa dulo, fail ka, wala ka ng time bumalik. Diba? So, bilisan mo yung decision-making process so that you can fail fast. Yun yung tamang term, fail fast. So, I think that's my answer to your question, Miss Cherry Rose. You?
Okay, nag-heart siya. Okay. Any more questions? siguro sir, dahil na-introduce mo na sa amin ang risk management, meron bang siguro mga online resources or maybe a courses we can look forward so that we can know more about this topic?
Actually, marami. Oo, ayoko lang magbigay ng ano, no? Ayoko magbigay ng specific. Okay, baka sabihin I'm ano no, I'm promoting. So, but there are a lot of materials on 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 risk management. Again, I'm promoting talaga is the ISO 31000 kasi if you use ISO 31000, you can already link to a lot of other management systems na magagamit mo siya. And then, of course, there's a lot of mga online materials, Coursera, LinkedIn, okay? Of course, if you're in a specific area, like for example, internal audit, project management. I mean, I'm a member of Project Management Institute. I'm a member of the board of the Project Management Institute. So project management has the project risk management concept then separate, but still aligned with the ISO risk management. And yeah, for I don't know. Now, we can have I don't know. We can have more discussions on risk management. But Ariel, you're going to send out feedback form,
Yes
right?
sir, apo. Later po.
Later. So probably you can put in there um, your comments or some of the things that you want to us to discuss with the ICS webinar series. Not just on risk management, probably IT project management and everything.
Okay, baka may questions pa po? Sabi nga ni Sir Sol, may bayad na daw bukas. Joke lang. Ayan, nilagay naman ni Sir Sol ang kanyang contact details
Yeah.
dito if you have any concerns then about the topic, you can contact him.
And we will. I can send you, Ariel, the deck that I used today.
Slides, yes sir.
And of course, Ariel will give the slides to you in return doon sa feedback form.
Yes po, yes sir.
Yun yung kaliwaan natin.
Okay. Meron po tayong feedback form together with certificate of participations after you answer the feedback form later. Okay po. Meron pa
Alright.
po bang
Meron pa po
questions?
bang tanong dyan? Sino ba yung present dito nakakilala ko? Sabi ganun.
Or baka pagod na for the whole day activities, ano? Kaya pa po. Kayanin pa.
Meron ako mga fellow ano dito, org mates. Sabi ganun. Nagturo eh. Alright. So,
Wala naman na sir, no? So thank you so much sir for gracing us this afternoon, no? This evening. Maraming salamat. So maybe this is the start, no? Na start pa lang. So we can have more maybe series, no? Pag nagkaroon pa ng time, no? For your time as an alumni fellow. Okay, so as
pwede ba tayo mag-group picture?
ay, sige sir.
For documentation purposes, don't worry. We will not post it sa ano.
Okay, so actually sir, we can have a photo op. So may I request everyone joined here na please turn on your camera.
Ano na rin siya?
Okay.
Ano tawag doon?
I-unpin ko na.
Evidence of participation.
Okay, everyone. We are 24. Okay po. So, let's have the first page. I will try the other pages. Ano po? So, smile po tayo. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, another one. Another page po tayo. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, another 1, 1, 2, 3, smile po. Okay, so with that, maraming salamat po. And now, to thank our speaker this afternoon, let me share my screen. Okay, I will show the uh, yon virtual or the soft copy, no, but we will try to send it to Sir Sol. A certificate of appreciation is awarded to Sir Solomon B. Anastasio for grateful recognition of his valuable contribution as a speaker during the webinar entitled Integrating Risks Management into Decision-Making Process, held today, 13th of July 2026, via the Google Meet. This is signed by Reginald Neil C. Ricario, the Computer Training and Extension Division Head, Institute of Computer Science, and Rachel Edita O. Rojas, the Director of the Institute of Computer Science. So thank you so much, Sir Sol. Give him a virtual clap, a round of applause. Okay, thank you, Sir Sol. And ito na po ang iniintay ng lahat for the feedback form. Okay, sorry. Okay, so this would be our feedback form. I will copy also this on our chat box. Ano, please make sure that you answer this feedback form so that you can receive. Wait lang, hinanap ko lang yung chat box. You can receive your certificate of participation. So maraming salamat po for joining this afternoon. So, with that, maraming salamat po. Maraming salamat, Sir Sol, to all our participants. Maraming salamat po for joining this evening na, no? So, kahit dulo na ng araw, ay may energy pa tayo to join this webinar. Muli, maraming salamat po. So, with that, we will send you the certificate of participation maybe next week, no? We will try our best to do it. Maraming salamat po. Thank you everyone. Magandang gabi po. Bye. Ingat po tayong lahat.